The friend with no feed. You know someone like this. They're not weird. They're not a hermit. They show up to things. They have friends. They laugh. They're fine. Actually, maybe more than fine. But they have no Instagram, no TikTok, no Twitter, nothing. And at some point you've asked them, why? And they just kind of shrugged, like the question itself was a little strange. That shrug has been sitting with me, because I think they know something, not something they read, something they can feel. And by the end of this, I think you're going to feel it too. Think about the last time you posted something. You hit share, and then, even if you didn't mean to, you went back. 5 minutes later, then again, watching the number, waiting for something. You didn't even know what you were waiting for. You just kept checking. That feeling is real. It's not weakness. It's your brain doing exactly what it was trained to do. Chase the thing that came before. The like, the comment, the little hit that said, you exist, and people noticed. The person who never used social media never trained that loop. Their brain never learned to wait for that signal. So it went looking for reward somewhere else, in finishing something, in a real conversation that went long, in being outside long enough that time stopped feeling like something to fill. They're not more disciplined than you. Their brain just never got that particular hunger, and hunger you never develop, you never miss. You're in the middle of something, reading, working, thinking, it doesn't matter what, and then your phone lights up. And even if you don't pick it up, something in you shifted. The thread broke. Now try to remember the last time that didn't happen. The person who never uses social media lives closer to that. Not because they have more willpower, because the interruption was never installed. Their default is a kind of mental continuity most of us have to fight to get back. They can sit with one thing, one idea, one problem, long enough for something real to happen inside it. That's not a small thing. That's where the actual thinking happens. The kind that feels like it came from somewhere. The kind you can't replicate when your brain is already somewhere between 3 tabs and a notification. They didn't protect their attention. They just never gave it away. At some point, if you've been online long enough, you start to notice something uncomfortable. You're at dinner and you're already thinking about the photo. You're on a trip and part of you is composing the caption. You have a good day and your first instinct is to tell the feed before you've even finished feeling it. That's not vanity. That's just what happens when a version of you lives out there and you've learned, slowly, without noticing, to feed it. The person who never used social media never built that version. Their whole self lives in one place, in the room they're actually in, with the people who are actually there. Their sense of who they are wasn't built on what performed well. It was built on what they kept coming back to when nobody was watching. That identity is quieter, but it's harder to shake. You can't threaten it with silence. You can't inflate it with likes. It just is. You wake up before you're even fully awake, before coffee, before you've said a word to anyone. You've already seen someone's body, someone's vacation, someone's announcement, someone's life that looks nothing like yours. And you tell yourself it doesn't affect you. You're self-aware. You know it's not real, but something happened anyway. Something small, something you can't quite name, but you felt right there in the first 5 minutes of being alive today. The person who never uses social media didn't have that moment. They compared themselves to people too. That's just human. But to real people, finite people, people whose lives they could actually see the full picture of, not the curated one, the real one. Comparison against reality is survivable. Comparison against everyone's best possible version of themselves every morning before you've even stood up, That accumulates, and they were never in that room. Here's something harder to put into words. There's a way of knowing things that comes from living with an idea long enough for it to settle, where you can feel the edges of it, where you're not sure, and you stay with that uncertainty until something real comes through. And then there's the other kind, the kind that arrived hot, already decided, because 17 people you half follow shared it in the same hour. That kind feels like knowing. It has the same shape, but it's lighter, it moves easier, and it leaves faster too. The person who never used social media has mostly the first kind, not because they're smarter, because they weren't inside the machine that makes the second kind feel like the first. What they believe they came to slowly, and it shows in how they talk about things, in how much space they leave, in how rarely they need you to agree with them. We treat them like they're missing something, like they opted out of the world. But what if they just never agreed to the terms? We handed something over, our attention, our identity, our morning mood, incrementally, in pieces, until we forgot we were handing anything over at all. And they just didn't. They're not behind. They can see the thing you're standing inside of. And from where they're standing, it looks different than it does from in here. Tell me in the comments, do you know someone like this? Or are you the person in someone else's life who never logs on? If this landed somewhere real for you, subscribe. There's a new video every week. Next time, we're going into why boredom might be the most important thing your brain does, and why we've almost completely lost access to it. I'll see you there.